a lot of the way that I see the world is in the paradigm of masculine and feminine energy, which, yang and yin energy. It doesn't mean man or woman. It's just different qualities of energy. So there's the masculine way, Tom, that I see you holding of calling bullshit and saying, hey, that's not right. And that can be powerful. Like there's power in cutting through the bullshit. And that can be the thing that opens people up sometimes. And then there is this yang quality, this feminine quality of empathy and understanding and curiosity that can be just as powerful. And speaking of women, I've heard a few gorgeous stories from women. There's one in particular that comes to my mind. She posted on her Facebook page a couple months ago about a guy who catcalled her, and she stopped and she walked up to him and she said, hey, I just want to let you know that didn't feel good to me. And he was like, oh, really? Some guys really don't get this. And I have another friend in New York City who did the same thing. She went up and she expressed how she felt to the guy, and the guy was open to receiving her and empathizing with her, and she was open to empathizing with him. And as men, like that, and so you ask, where's my line? And I think, and this is where for me, it's not a line. Like for me, what's powerful is having access to that masculine cut through the bullshit, and also that feminine quality of empathy, and being able, like, integration of the both is what's powerful to me, and being able to choose in any given moment what's going to open this person up in front of me. Because you ask, in our real lives, and this is the place where we have the power, is in our real lives, how am I gonna, the next time somebody says something, or maybe it was somebody who said something last week or last year or 5 years ago, it's never too late to bring that up with somebody. And just like having access to the different parts of ourselves, and really being in the question of what's going to open this person up, what's going to open their heart up. Because any person who's going with their buddies and saying, like, I fucked that woman last night, like I banged her so hard, or whatever, his heart is closed. On some level, he's hurting, he's scared, and what's it going to take to open that man's heart up?
It's beautiful,
and that's different for every person, and it's a powerful inquiry.
Yeah, and I think there's also a time and a place for, like, just being fair. That's fucked up. Like a firm kind of like I always kind of like it when, like, I don't know, there's a John Cena what is he, like a WWF guy?
Something like that, yeah.
He's an actor or whatever. Like he did a video a while back about, like, patriotism. It was kind of like, it was like anti-Trump in a non-overt way, just talking about, like, our nation's values. And I just love it when, like, stereotypical, like, guy that you expect to be, the conservative, more narrow-minded thing, like, stands up for a decent, like, the decency and a good cause, like a more, like, it's like things like that. I don't know, I'm just kind of on a tangent, but, like, I just like it when, like, in addition to, like, us, there's also, like, the people that we think are not like us stand up for the same thing.
Absolutely. Like when a colonel,
yeah, exactly,
becomes an amazing visionary. Just for an example,
when the military stands up for gays in the military or women in the military, or yeah.
So, Michael Taylor, you got to take off.
Yeah, I got to check out, but before I go, I just want to tell each of you men that I love you. I absolutely admire you for the men that you are. And this is what changes the world. So thank you for who you are.
I love you too, Michael.
All right, guys, take care.
Thank you, Michael.
Colin, what's brewing in you?
A lot of what Bob was speaking to, I connected with. My experience lately is actually being able to listen to someone say something that is completely against what I believe in, and just feel the shit out of that pain that it brings inside me, and allow them to have that. Like, allow them to have that experience, and kind of what Bob said, be curious. Like, why do they have that view? There's a reason they have it. There's a reason they have that experience. and not necessarily needing to stand on a line and say, you're wrong, stop that. I won't tolerate that. But trying to open up myself to more of their world. And if it causes pain in me, to try and feel that.
And oh, go ahead.
I think that's that's more or less what I needed to say.
And I have just one other quick thing that I kind of wanted to add on to this is like, the question is, can I be with this person and keep my heart open to them? Whether I'm saying fuck you, that's wrong, or whether I'm getting curious about them, can I keep my heart open and not because they want to connect. They're a person, they want to feel a heart connection, even if they don't know it. And if I just say fuck you and then turn around and leave because I got pissed and triggered, then that's just validating the divide.
Absolutely. And I think that there's a lot of people in my tribe who can't watch any of this stuff, because I think what they're watching is like, none of these hearts are open. The debate is two people just about to smash their, about to break in half. And they're like, I can't even watch it. So yeah, it's a good point.
Or the same, it's like almost like the people that think, oh, I'm not going to vote this election. Like, they're both assholes. I don't want any of them, and I'm not going to vote, which is totally in their right, and everybody's right, and any of you gentlemen's right. And it's almost like kind of like it's not high enough it's not high vibing enough, so I don't want to engage. If I engage, then that's kind of I'm going to get dirty, and I don't want to I want to bypass, and I want to be above this, and I'm going to not vote or not engage in the conversation. I'm not going to, let me just go and hang out around different people that like the same things that I like. So I think there's a little bit of maybe that not willingness. So harder. It's kind of similar to a relationship, right? It's much harder to be in a long-term relationship, navigate the ups and downs, than it is to fail every 6 months or the first 6 months and find a new partner. So like a willingness to kind of. Also, there's Anyways, that's kind of.
Yeah, I also think not voting can be putting oneself below. Not saying I'm above, but I'm below. I'm determined to show up in my world from a level that's far more localized than this global political battle. And it literally it has no impact on me who's president. Like, if I live truly in community where I'm at, then that's where my energy is going. That's where I need to show up. So, I mean, I personally believe that whoever's president will not impact the quality of my experience of life in any way. So for me to vote, it's irrelevant.
I totally get that from a kind of man's search for meaning kind of vibe, especially you could be in a concentration camp, you could be in a stuff. And I think, and if you're a gay man or a black man or any type of non-mainstream person whose president can impact, maybe not immediately on a day-to-day basis, but like the ability to marry was impacted because Obama was in office. Like, so that there's things like that kind of maybe not on a day-to-day life, but like there's certain things I think on a general sense matter.
So I'm curious what Jim thinks about that, because I rarely hear you weigh in on anything. Well, let me rephrase that. You weigh in on global, but not on country.
Right. For the very reason that every single government that's ever been accepted by what we call nations.
Could you come closer? Because I guarantee this is going to be gold. So
I think this guy gets tired or something.
I think it's a mechanical thing. It seems to go in and out the volume.
Okay. Yeah, national governments have just been such a miserable failure across the board. It doesn't make any difference what the ideology is. Well, surprise. Now the web came in. I call it the webocracy. And all the people who traded ideas and things like they did in ocean-going days are in touch with each other beyond the borders. So it's a perfect time to condense ourselves into bioregions around a watershed and bring in the Natural Guard, which would be some veterans and some National Guard people and some forest rangers and some perhaps extraterrestrials from inside the earth who know how to work it. And the possibilities there are, by the way, you know who you stick in the middle of that new village? A festival culture team that knows how to do music and lights and dance and art and whatnot. So there's a new social architecture that's just waiting to happen. It's actually sort of happening, but we're still whining about the old system not working, and there's not a chance in hell it will unless we return it to the maintenance department. But as long as it's going to decide what our political agreements with other nations are based on old spiritual and theological ideas, it's just completely and the banker guys. So the reset on banking could be in the works. And I don't want to hijack the whole discussion away from the divine feminine. What I noticed last week, when we were asked what was an experience recently that we had of extending ourselves in an open, deep, and true way, how did that work? And the responses I thought we got were pretty exciting. So, because once men get into a definition role about what is right, it's all head shit. That's all. So I'm inviting you let's take some time to report on the times you've been softer and more open and more willing to listen and less willing to offer how to fix the problem, etc. Those things that are the open, deep, and true rules.